corners of my mouth start sagging, just like...
I pressed record.
Oh.
Hello and welcome to another episode of An Oral History of Team Lightning. Today we're going to be going over alien species, more exactly the Elixni / the Clam. I'm joined once again by my fellow Crown Eater, Lucian.
B.
So, anyways, what happened? Humanity was saved. They were saved by the Elixni / the Clam. I'm just going to refer to them as the Clam from now on, which is just their word for alien. So, they were saved by humans. A little fun fact, after the humans got saved by them,
They went in and were just like,
yeah,
we hate you guys, yeah, get out of here.
So basically they saved them, they brought them up to normal alien species, just because to the Clam, they were just another alien species. And humans were like, yeah, this is our land now. The Clam were like,
wait a minute.
Wait.
So we help you and you're just like...
Over the course of 12,000 years AE, after the course of Earth's destruction, humanity basically kicks the Clam out of their territory. Most of the aliens are... Like, the Clam were the first aliens to get out of the alien sectors. Remember the map? I might be able to pull up the maps. Like Dimension Miner, let's pull it up really quick just so you have an idea of what I'm talking about. So you see you have the alien sectors here. So the aliens basically went through Camelot, went into the Milky Way, to Earth. Humanity was on the brink of destruction. They had blown up the planet. And, they were kind of like, yo, we can help you guys out. And we're like, yeah, chill. And then over the course of 12,000 years, they got pushed out of the Milky Way, pushed out of Camelot. And all the aliens now are back into the alien sectors where they belong. Build the wall.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. Don't do that. Aliens are pretty chill.
Destroy them all.
Aliens are still pretty chill. So let's go ahead. Let's talk about the Elixni / the Clam. Why they're so important. So basically, they originally lived on an ice planet, and they all lived underwater on this planet. And they were the first ones to get, out of the water and up onto the ice. And there was this kind of evolutionary war over... Let me go ahead and write out their name. But we'll get to why it sounds the way it does in a second. It has to do with their language. And they were the first ones to get up onto the ice, and then there was essentially an evolutionary battle, and they won. So the way they look is really weird, so I want you to try to focus for a second and try to imagine this in your head. So their feet are kind of like ice skating shoes, in a way. Or like ice skates, in a way. The point of them is to navigate the ice really quickly. And they have really slender bodies for that same reason. Their arms are kind of like, almost like ice picks that they can kind of like retract in and out of their skin. And the main reason for that, one, is when they're running really fast, they can kind of like use it to kind of like drift, almost in a sense, and help control their speed by like putting, kind of like, you've ever seen like a skateboarder use like gloves, and they kind of like touch the side of the road, you know what I'm talking about? And they use it to like churn.
Yeah.
They kind of do the same thing with like the ice picks. The other reason they use it is for food. They can use the ice picks to break the ice and like spear fish underground or whatever and use it to eat. Once they retract it, they have like these little tiny baby hands they can kind of use to grab stuff if they need to.
They can eat crayons with them.
Crayons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the human.
They were the first crayon eaters.
Yeah.
They were the first humans they could show them how to eat crayons effectively. Now their faces, where you start to get a little bit weird, they have face plates, essentially. And the point of that is to protect them from the elements. If they're going really, really fast, they don't want to get, like, wind all up in their face.
Now, that's not the only function the faceplates serve.
Yeah. So that's part of the way you can tell whether they're male or female, because the male faceplates point down and the female faceplates point up. That's how you can tell gender differences. And fun fact, also how they mate is with their two.
They grind their faceplates together. They like you put the one in and the other one in, and
So
like...
something along those lines.
Yeah.
So that should give you a pretty horrifying idea of what the Elixni basically are. So let's get to their language really quick. First of all, I'm gonna say the languages use no vowels, and you're gonna get a little bit upset because obviously there's a vowel right here. There's an A for Clam. But the thing is, they allow A. So
they hate all of them except A.
If there's no vowel in the word, then they will add an A before the last letters. In this case, we get an A right here. And I'm going to get a big A for a pretty obvious reason in a second. What was that? Let me go ahead and make this big A.
Decrease the size of the rest of it.
Okay.
That's low.
Make it a little bigger. 48. So big A. Now, the second word, this is where you're going to hear them the most. We refer to them as Clamada, which is a combination of the word clam, meaning alien, and their word for us, ada, meaning human. And that eventually becomes a word, kind of like clam was just thrown onto almost all aliens. Ada, Clamada was thrown onto almost all alien human kind of mixes.
Interbreeding.
Yeah. And part of the reason why the Clom language became the norm for almost all aliens was because the Clom basically discovered technology under the ice eventually, coming from who knows where, and actually I don't know, it's not really important. And they got the technology, and because of that they were able to get off of their planet the first, they were able to develop best technology the first, and they were basically able to become the first galaxy wayfaring alien species the first. And so they kind of became, the biggest alien species relatively quickly. And that's why their language became kind of sort of the norm. Of course, there's other alien languages. Most of them speak Clom. So we have Clom, we have Ada, we have the big A here. Now, if there's already an A in there, when they're using the A for special cases, they're just going to go to the first A. So they would just use the A in Ada. And obviously, if we combine them, we're going to be going to the first A, which in this case is going to be the first A in Clamada. Now, the thing you do with A's is you do quite a few things with them to basically showcase the different ways make sense, I guess. So if you have it like this means that it's a question mark, and I think this is just the best way to just clear it. If you have a line on top of the A going like this is an exclamation point. If you have a line just going straight up, which I didn't really do a very good straight line, that's a period. And if you have a line going like this, that's a comma. And that's all the literature punctuation they're going to get. You can also add a dot. So you can add a dot at the end of any of these, or you can just have a dot on its own. But a dot anywhere near the A is to signify that the word is plural. So you have Clamadas, you'd have to go ahead and add a dot on top of this A. And if you wanted to ask it as a question, you know what I mean? So let's say you want to make this an exclamation point, you're calling someone a Clamada. Which, by the way, Clamada is used in a sense, is kind of derogatory in a sense towards half-breeds of aliens and humans, or just derogatory as a whole after a little while. So let's say if you wanted to call them Clamada, you'd do that. You'd have a line going off to the right and a dot on top, and you're like, Clamadas! You know what I mean? You're kind of screaming it.
Should call them Clamadas, man.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and let's go back to here.
Segregate.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for being here. So, we separate this. So, when you have the A before the first letter, it actually sounds different. That's why it doesn't sound like clam, like it's in our language. It's clom. It's Clamada. Clamada. It kind of adds a U kind of at the end of the A, and it's more kind of drags it out a little bit.
Adds sophistication.
Yeah. Now, if you want to get slang in their language, and you can only get slang if you add an A. Yeah. So, for instance, you can't make a slang, or a lot of times also used for cuss words and stuff, but you can't make slang out of Ada because the A was there beforehand. But because Clom didn't have an A beforehand, you can make slang by getting rid of the A, and then it's just Clom, I guess. And in this case, that's slang because without the A, you can't make proper punctuation, so it just it's just slang terms, essentially. Let's go back here. So if you see these things here called Dunsknum and Dunskpoon, the thing you're going to notice pretty quickly is, like I said before, these are actually, the humans took the Elixni/Clom's word for it, and there's no A here. That's because they don't use that special A case when they're naming places. There's just no A in there. So if you're naming a galaxy or a restaurant or a planet, they don't include the A. It's just no vowels, period. Straight up no vowels. So let's get into some of the Elixni factions. Which, by the way, I feel like at a certain point, some of you with some of these episodes might be going, what's the point of talking about this? Everything I'm talking about right now, even if it seems completely irrelevant, directly relates to something you need to know going into Arc 1. The reason why you need to know about the Clom going into Arc 1 is because there's a character from the Clom. There's multiple characters from the Clom in Arc 1. The reason why you might need to know about the Order of the Gunslingers later is because they're part of Arc 1. Everything that I'm teaching you right now is I'm trying to give you just the necessary information. Because if I was to go really, really in-depth, I could give you a ton of unnecessary information. I'm just trying to give you what's necessary for understanding Arc 1, which is where the stories would start. And then we can go into Arc 1 and maybe we could do a more story format rather than an education focused format. Maybe. I don't know how we're going to do it, Arc 1. So let's get back to them. So we're going to do the Clom post the First Great War. Because before the First Great War, It matters, yes, but to us, it doesn't matter. So, post the First Great War, once you understand the events in the First Great War, it'll make a bit more sense. But their species got hit really hard, and for the most part, they were kind of completely distraught and wiped out. And the humans took them in as alien refugees, sent them off to a planet.
That, like, was crap. They were just like, the Clamada came, they were just like, hey, you know...
Well, the Clom came, they weren't Clamada at this point.
Yeah. They came over and they were just like, hey, can you give us a place to stay? And the humans were just like, hey, so you know this planet where, like, nobody goes because it's, like, so horrible, and we terraformed it for centuries and it still sucks, like, you can hang out there.
And there were still humans living on that planet, and that was where you started getting interhuman breeds. But it wasn't just the Clom.
Yeah, because the humans on that planet who were like...
They were like,
yummy.
yeah, we don't care.
Yeah.
They pretty much had nothing to live for at that point. So, anyways, a lot of alien species besides just them went to this planet. But for the most part, like I said, the biggest alien species by far and away is the Clom. And they were also the ones that had the best relationship with the humans because they were the ones that originally saved the humans. A lot of the... I don't know. I don't know. So, they were also the ones that had the best relationship with humans. Compared to most of the other alien species, kind of just preferred to stay in the alien sector, even when it was ravaged by war during the First Great War. I'm very excited to talk about the First Great War. I'm saving that for tomorrow, though, when both me and my partner are in better, mindsets.
Mental condition.
Yeah, because right now, it's a time in which mentalness is not high. And I'm planning for that to be a really long episode. Yeah.
Yeah, how long?
I mean, remember how long it took for me to go over the entire First Great War with you?
Weeks.
I want to fit it into an hour.
Okay.
That's the plan, is to fit it into an hour and go over everything in the First Great War. And I think that's doable. So we have this alien species, 3 main factions, last thing we're going to go over, and then we'll be done with this episode for now. So what they have, the first species is all about speed. So they're just like speedy boys. Factions, yeah. Speedy. Basically, their entire belief system is around speed. The faster you are, the more important you are. And the thing is, all of the Clom are super fast. Like, all of them to a certain degree believe in speed above all else, because that's the reason their species survived so much, because of how fast they were. However, this species believes in speed above all else. And in a way, I think it's probably my favorite, because it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you were born rich or poor or whatever. If you're faster than everybody else, that's what determines your social class. Which in a way I think is kind of a cool system. But they're also like the super elitist and they're super into war. Because through war you'll naturally become faster.
Just be fast.
So they're very into war. Now the second faction, this is the one nobody really likes. They're like, I guess we'll just call them a dragon fetish.
Guys. Yeah.
So they believe within the planet that the Clom came to settle on, there's a dragon living inside of the planet, and they're trying to...
the dragon.
Yeah, they're trying to bring it out, and when they do, the dragon will eat the planet and kill everybody on it. And even though they're living on it, they just don't really seem to care.
It's like, yeah, that's fine. We die.
But somehow this faction became, like, huge. Okay. And so, the Speedy Boys and the Dragon, fetish faction are very much against each other. Very much. And the last faction are the Clamadas, which are probably the biggest ones and the most important, because they have the big relationship with humans. Yep, they're the half-breeds. And the Clamadas, in this case, are not only just made up of Elixni, but of all the alien species who came together. And they're the ones that are kind of in direct contact with humans and are kind of in a much better relationship with humans. Even though they are still kind of...
In other words, they're only half not human, so the humans are like, yeah, you're a little bit better than the others. Yeah. I
think the thing you'll come to discover throughout, especially Arc Zero, is humans are just really just not cool people.
They're like... 1800s people.
Yeah, they're like super xenophobic.
They're basically modern day Japan.
Yep. So the Clamadas, which makes up all of the alien-human hybrids, which is more than you would think.
Yeah.
Because really, the thing is, inter-alien, mingling happened all the time. It was just because humanity had closed themselves off so feverishly from the aliens up until the First Great War.
All the humans are racist against
that none of this really happened.
She shows her faceplate. It's just like, ooh.
But basically, really, the humans to all these alien races are just another alien race. You know what I mean? We think of ourselves as special because of that we are,
We're
humans.
not special now because there are other And there's other intelligent, sapient life that
Yeah.
exists.
And to them, we are just another species. Like, there's a ton of in the alien sectors. We just happen to, kind of win because we're dicks.
Because we're humans. That's how it works.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
As
Actually,
it should
humans
be.
are only sometimes dicks. It's like the fundamental rule of humans.
Okay. I think that's about it for this episode. Thank you for watching. Next episode will be the First Great War. Don't miss it.